exploding, and it's possibly on the way back to how it was in the say
I
like
think it is.
the mid '90s. But the thing is, what could kill that is if they have a lockout,
If they lock out, yeah, then that can kill it. But then it just be
because like they've worked so hard to get back to that peak, and they're probably going to ruin it.
yeah.
Honestly,
They,
Yeah, I'd
I
hate to see
I
that
honestly
happen.
think like David Stern. I think he's overstayed his welcome. I mean, he did help the NBA. He's done a really good job of getting the NBA where it needs to be. But he's been here so long, and he's starting to go. He's starting to take the NBA in the wrong direction.
um,
So my
yeah,
well, I
I would,
think I would actually think like most of the like what is it? Most of the leadership in the NBA, like overall, is taking the NBA in the wrong direction.
yeah, that's I would go that far. I wouldn't say just David Stern.
Okay, yeah. Like the problem, like one thing I've noticed is NBA, like the NBA has been talking about how they're losing like $300 million this year, um, because like they pay too like I don't know because I think the salary cap is too high. You want to know why it really is? They're losing money because they overpay players like
Oh, yeah,
crazy.
definitely.
Like Vince Carter, he is way past his prime.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think he's only like maybe a 15 point uh game, like a 15 point average per
Average.
night, and he's being paid like I think it's $18 million a year to be old, and just because of his
To be
name,
old.
just because of his name. And you think back to the Eddie Curry signing by Isaiah Thomas by the Knicks a few years ago, where like he played 5 games and sat around on the bench for 3 years eating cheeseburgers and getting fat. That's literally what happened.
Yeah.
And that guy was one of the highest paid players in the league.
Let's see. In 2010, 2011, Vince Carter made 17,522,375 dollars.
Vince Carter should not even be making $8 million.
Well,
He's not that
yeah,
good.
and that was just him working. That was just when he was at the Magic. Like that was his last time. He got paid that from the Magic, and making $17 million. And out of
Well,
that whole last year at the Magic, it wasn't even a full year. He had like one big game, and it was like a 41-point game, and that was it.
yeah. See,
Yeah.
Vince Carter's past his prime. Let's
Oh
think,
wait, yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, and so paying a guy like that is just wasting money and filling like space on your roster. You're just like you can't sign anybody else because your roster's just full of crap players that are way paid way too much. And that's why that is one example of the whole bunches of players that are being paid way too much, and that is why the NBA is losing money. There was a bill. Oh wait, never mind. You go.
Um, of this list, can you guys guess who number one paid player was in the 2010 2000?
Oh,
Um, Dwight Howard.
Number one? He's not even top 10.
Awesome. It was No, it wasn't LeBron.
Kobe Bryant was number one.
Kobe. I
That
was about
makes
to say
sense
Kobe.
because like even though Kobe's past his prime, he's still a great player.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's still a great player.
and Rashard Lewis was number two.
Really?
Oh, dude, that guy. That's another one of the guys that's paid way too much. This guy can't put. He's never gonna score 20 points a game in his career, and he's being paid. And he got the Magic signed him like I think it was 2 years ago to like a huge contract, and then they found out that he was doing steroids, and so they they traded him to the Wizards. Now the Wizards are stuck with his junk contract.
Yeah, that's how it is. You get someone who you think you get a name, and then you pay him a lot, and then he does nothing, and it's just okay. Yao was number eight on the list, and what he played like in
No, well,
2010 2011.
oh well, that's I can understand why he made that much money because he was probably the most dominant center in the game when he was playing. But when you get
I
hurt,
would say over
you can't.
Dwight.
You what? No, he was. He was
Mm.
the most dominant center in the game. He was in his prime. He was. And so now that he got hurt and he's been hurt so much, it's now everybody's saying he's a waste of money. But when he's playing, he's a great player.
Well, Houston. The whole thing about them is he's kind of like he is for Houston what Tiger is for golf. People watch the Rockets for Yao,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Or
China watches
and when
basketball
Tracy
for
McGrady
Yao.
was there.
Whatever happened to Tracy McGrady? Is
He
what I want to.
he had a knee injury a few years ago, and he's been struggling back. He's on his way back though. He's on the Pistons right now.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll probably never be as good as he once was.
No, of course
Probably
not.
so.
He's too old, number one, but
Yeah.
he can maybe still be a solid player on a team.
Maybe.
Okay, here's a few other players that are being paid way too much. Gilbert Arenas,
Yeah.
$17.7 million.
Yeah.
Um, Rashard Lewis,
Just bring a gun
19.6.
into your locker room.
Yeah, yeah. Rashard Lewis, 19.6 million. Michael Redd, he used to be a spectacular scorer back in his heyday, but now he's like a third string shooting guard for the Bucks. He's way
Yeah.
past his prime, and he's making $18.3 million.
And he's played a total of 51 games the last 2 seasons combined.
Yeah, see that. Okay, here's another one. Okay, Yao Ming's making a lot. Sam Dallenberg, the backup center for the Kings, is making $13.4 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's why they're going, that's why they're
yeah.
losing money
They're
for
paying
things like
guys
that.
that aren't playing. All right, here we got T.J. Ford. I think he's played like almost zero games in the past 2 seasons. He's making $8.5 million. So they're paying his. They're
They're
not.
paying people to sit on the bench, basically.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
He
See, on the list that I have, the only person that I can understand being paid as much as they are is Pau Gasol
How much
and
is he
Kobe.
making?
Pau's making about 17.8.
Yeah, I can see why.
And see, Pau's in it.
17's kind of high though.
17's a little high, but Pau I can understand because he's probably one of the most dominant big men in the game, and he is in his prime right now.
Yeah.
And then like there's guys like Kevin Garnett who's he's making
The
18.8.
big three ever at Boston, they're way overpaid.
Yeah, I mean
All of them are overpaid. Well, I mean,
they're all old.
Paul Pierce, he's still. I think he still deserves what he's getting paid, but I think a guy like Kevin Garnett,
No.
he's past his what he should be making. Although,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He's not performing as well. He's not performing at the level that he is
Well,
getting paid.
I mean, this past season I think he did, but but you could see in the Heat series how he's lost the energy. He doesn't have the stamina or the endurance to play in the NBA as much as he does. He's just getting old. I mean, it's just his body, his age is catching up with him. So, if Boston was able to get those guys to adjust their contracts or something and make a lot less money than they are, then
That won't ever happen.
that probably won't happen. But Boston would be pretty good.
They'd
I
be
would
good to
think.
go money wise, yeah.
Definitely.
But honestly, how many more years do you see that trio?
I see Ray Allen here for a while longer. I'd give him 5
Really?
years. Yeah,
Of
I could
those
give
three,
Ray
I
Allen
see him
5
going
years.
longer than the rest.
I can
But
see
like,
Ray Allen and Paul Pierce at least 5 more years. Kevin Garnett, I'd give
Yeah,
him 2.
Kevin Garnett's done. If you ask me.
No, I'd give him 2.
Well,
2
like
years.
you know what I'm saying.
I would agree with 2.
Like, cause
Wait, he's never going to be what we'd expect. I mean, people can still give him those expectations that he's KG. You know.
but if you manage his minutes well, he can still play well. Like Michael Jordan, when he played for the Wizards, his knee could not hold up for 82-game season. So he asked his coach if he could play off the bench, and so he decided to play off the bench, and he still scored 20 points a game.
Yeah,
So
and he had one of the top scoring averages.
Yeah, I think it was like number 5.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
23.7 points or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. So if Doc Rivers and he can come to an agreement and they can manage his minutes well, then they'll be good. Holy crap! Troy Murphy is making $12 million.
Really?
That guy didn't play. He was at
Wow,
Boston.
that's just
Gee
that's
whiz.
Tim Duncan's making 18.8.
Well, that's Tim Duncan. I mean, you didn't know that he was gonna lose at what he had this season right here. These are long-term contracts where we're seeing these big numbers for these stars, but a few of them aren't. Like the Gilbert Arenas was signed like 1 or 2 years ago, and the Rashard Lewis, those are not long-term. Those were signed a few years ago, and now
I do not
they're wasted
understand the
money.
Rashard Lewis.
I don't either. He never was that great.
I know he's just always been an average.
I can sort of understand the Gilbert Arenas, and I can't understand how much Michael Redd is making, but right now the level of play is just not it's not to par with how much they're making.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really don't think
Here's a cool little thing. Tracy McGrady making $800,000.
$800,000. That's it.
It says just for the info, McGrady will be wearing a Pistons uniform in 2010, 2011, making $800,000.
Just for wearing the uniform.
I don't know. I don't know if that's just for wearing it or if that's how much his salary is. I find it hard to believe that that's all he's going to make.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was off contract whenever he came back in the league. I mean, he was on a 1 year. His last year, his contract expired when he was at the Knicks. When he was traded to the Knicks, so his contract expired then. So I guess they could sign him for nothing.